This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Segue into the podcast.
Oh God, you're not even recording yet. Jesus,
I wasn't recording yet.
Here I've been entertaining.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, I mean, you can continue to entertain people in the Foreign Affair podcast.
Damn it! That wasn't as good at all.
I know it wasn't. It really wasn't. Hey, just kind of like Dortmund's defense. Ha! We'll get to that later on in the podcast. But for right now, and really that could be true of their last three games. Welcome to the Foreign Affair podcast. I am Edward Green, joined as always by my Colin Crime, Wes Bradshaw. I'm also a little sick tonight, so this will be fun. This will be
sick.
Very. Not just like sick thoughts like normal. No, this is an actual cold. So we'll be
sick, bro.
We'll be playing injured. I picked up a bit of a knock in training, but we're gonna soldier
something
on.
else we'll talk about. Hey, if you put in a shift like Genie Wijnaldum did, being sick.
Oh boy!
Holy shit! Yeah, then you're bringing the heat tonight, my friend.
Oh. Gigi Wijnaldum on Arlo White's ever-growing shortlist for Premier League Player of the Year.
Jesus.
Oh, that was a great thread. It was like 6 people, then it was 7 people, then it became 8 people. It was amazing. Wijnaldum was actually on there, though.
That's crazy. We'll talk a little more about Genie.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll also talk about another guy that was on the Arlo White's ever-growing shortlist for Premier League Player of the Year. That's Heung-min Son, who had a big role in Tottenham Hotspur's week. But of course, before we get to all that, we do want to thank our sponsors, including NGSC Sports, ngscsports.com. We never stop. If you want to go read articles about the Tottenham Hotspurs, go check them out on ngscsports.com. Don't laugh when I'm doing my reads. And so we can go check out that for the latest and greatest sports news there, as well as Alicia's Pills and Things on Facebook. I don't know. I mean, football season's... Hey, that other football league has started, the other one. Maybe, if you ask nicely, Alicia will make you a pillow and or thing based on if you have a favorite new football league team. I don't really know the name of it. I think it's like the Alliance or something. I don't know. So go check that out, Alicia's Pillows and Things. That's on Facebook. She's got some great deals going on right now. Anyway, so let's head straight to the week that was. We'll start with the Premier League, West Bradshaw, and as always, we'll go through the matches we don't really care about first. But there were quite a few interested patrons on the South Coast as Southampton took on Cardiff in a bottom-of-the-table match, and Cardiff comes away with a 2-1 victory. Southampton thought they had rescued a point in stoppage time thanks to Jack Stevens, but just 2 minutes later, Kenneth Zohore got Cardiff all 3 points and makes a bad season for Southampton even worse, as it separates Cardiff and Southampton as the embarkation line, I guess you might call it, for the relegation zone. So that is a huge match for those teams, and Cardiff takes all 3 points there. Crystal Palace, West Ham go 1-1 at Selhurst Park. A early Mark Noble penalty is canceled out by a second half goal from Wilfred Zaha. who still plays for Crystal Palace somehow. Watford makes Everton's bad season even worse, 1-0, thanks to a 65th minute.
The Marco Silva derby.
Yeah, Andre Gray, to the jeers of Watford fans, very much going on top of Marco Silva. And that is, I guess, we weren't going to really talk about this, but and I guess now that you mentioned that, Wes, we haven't really talked about Everton a lot this year, for good reason, I think, because they're not very good. But is Marco Silva in trouble at all with his job? Because he was brought in with big expectations with how he's done for lower-level Premier clubs, and he's not really done anything with Everton with some more big signings.
Well, Workham out of Merseyside is he's definitely on the hot seat, and it's something maybe in the past he wouldn't have been, but with this new ownership group from Everton over the last few years, they have pumped a lot of money in, and they're very hungry for results. And, there was such a big hubbub about Silva last year. Of course, he wanted to leave in the middle of the year from Watford to go to Everton. Mm-hmm. That didn't work out. He ends up getting fired from Watford because of it. Mm-hmm. Everton gets a half a season of Sam, which was delicious for all involved. And then they end up getting their man, and everything's great. Oh, the season started. Oh, Rich Arlison is the best player ever. And unfortunately for Everton, it has really fallen off the rails. Rich Arlison has done what Rich Arlison kind of does, which is start off really hot early and then never to be heard from again. Yep. And Everton are just crap.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
There's despair and crap. Basically, ever since Divock Origi put that ball in over little T-Rex arm, Jordan Pickford, it has all gone to shit for Everton, and it doesn't look like it's turning around anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Richarlison with 10 of maybe the quietest goals we've seen in the Premier League in a long time, especially, again, as you mentioned, after that hot start he had when he was the talk of Merseyside to an extent. He just hasn't been bringing it lately for Everton. So Everton now below Watford in the table, which of course delights Watford fans immensely. Burnley, they're it's amazing what happens when you get that Europa League stink off you. They're turning into that team we always knew they were. They go to Brighton and beat Brighton and Hove 3-1 at Chris Wood Brace in this one, as Burnley has been climbing their way up the table now to 27 points. That's level on points with Palace and Brighton, which I believe puts them. Well, currently they are in 15th place, but they could, if they just go 1 point up, they'd be in 13th. So Burnley really starting to turn things around now that they don't have to do the Europa League, even though they crashed out really early. And then on Monday Night Football on NBC Sports, Wolves Newcastle play to a 1-1 draw thanks to the heroic efforts of Willy Boley and maybe some not so great Newcastle goalkeeping. I mean, that was not Martin Dubravka, not Dubrovsky, more like it. Rafa thought he had a victory, but it was snatched from the jaws of victory there, as Wolves get a point at home. All right, so that's going to do it for those matches. Now we can start about the matches we're going to talk about real quick. Arsenal do get a tidy 2-1 victory at Huddersfield. What could maybe have been a bit of a banana peel match turns out to be nothing of the sort, as two first-half Arsenal goals from Alex Iwobi and Alexander Lacazette prepare Arsenal to their 2-1 victory. It was only an own goal from Sead Kolasinac in the final moments of the match that gave Huddersfield their point. So Huddersfield still just woefully inept in goal and not very good defending either. They are the bottom team in the table. And Wes, this is something that, for Arsenal, it does kind of stem that bleeding. And, with what's going on at Chelsea and possibly, you never know, we've been so high on Manchester United, but, that could fall apart at any moment too. Arsenal just 1 point out of fourth, still in this Champions League race.
They are, and that said, I'm not really expecting it to continue so much for Arsenal.
I don't think they're favorites, but
No, I mean, really for Arsenal, right now for any team, Huddersfield is the perfect
Yeah.
opponent, basically. Huddersfield is just, it was, last season was,
A miracle.
the more we look back on it, it was a miracle to stay up for
Yeah.
a season in the Premier League. It shows how good of a job David Wagner did. And I think as people really look back at it, there's a reason he's going to get another job without a doubt. And it's going to be a quality job. Huddersfield is just, they're abject. They have no goal scoring threat. They don't have that real solidity at the back. Everyone knows they're going down. I mean, they're currently 14 points out of safety with 12 matches left.
Yeah.
Yeah, Huddersfield going bye-bye.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, right now, it's a great day to play Huddersfield. But you know what? For Arsenal, man, that's kind of what they needed at the moment.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it kind of stops the bleeding for a week. It gets them kind of out of the doldrums that they were finding themselves in. I mean, they are still in the race. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. They are still in the race, and it's tight. I mean, it's Arsenal shirt tight
Yes.
for that fourth spot right now. But just in the long run, unless they turn this really into something, I think it might just be a little too far of a reach for Arsenal to get that top four finish, especially the way United have played. But you know what? We'll talk more about United a little later, the good and the bad of United. And it's kind of like you say, teams, everyone eventually goes through the tough patch. I mean, look at City, look at Liverpool. They're top of the league. I mean, if Liverpool have had their tough patch, a couple losses in the Cups, a couple of draws in the league, a loss in the league right there all together. I'm personally hoping that was our tough patch and we're out of it now. We'll see. But, City had their little run where they lost a couple of games. So everybody is going to eventually hit that. United have had that great, magnificent new head coach bounce, new manager bounce, whatever they want to call it. And it has drugged them firmly into a top four battle. And I believe by the end of the year, I think they're going to have enough to get themselves into fourth. And part of that is still going to be issues at Arsenal and Chelsea. But right now, all three of those teams, and that includes Arsenal, they're in a position where they still control their destiny. Just go out and do what you got to do.
Yeah, certainly. And
go out, win matches, get points, and you got a chance.
And they will have a chance at the back end of the year. It is their next 5 matches that could end up being their hardest. Next week or next time they go out, it will be a home match against Southampton. That shouldn't be too bad. But Southampton obviously needs points to try and get out of relegation. But then after that, it's it's Bournemouth, Tottenham, United, and Wolves in a row. And that could be really rough. After that, they don't play a top 16 the rest of the season. So April and May grade out pretty easily for them. But that could be the deciding 5-week stretch right there, depending on how they do.
And it's not, you don't have to go win every one of them.
No.
But if they could pull maybe a couple of draws and maybe not lose, pull a couple of draws and get some wins over there. And especially, obviously that United match is going to be big. That head-to-head with United will be really big.
Certainly. And talking about United, you said the good. This was the good. They had a good 3-0 victory against Fulham. Paul Pogba with the brace. I liked when people were responding to Arlo White's tweets about his player of the year lists. They didn't ever include Paul Pogba. And when somebody asked, well, where's Paul Pogba? Arlo White responded, that was the same question I was asking from August to December. Boom! Nailed it! Love Arlo. Love you, Arlo. You're the best. It is what it is. But United go out, take care of business, Wes, and do it in good fashion. It wouldn't lead to results in the midweek, but again, as far as their league position goes, they're keep storming on, And this does set them up as in the pole position for that 4th spot with, all to play for the rest of the season, still with trip to Arsenal, Man City at home, Chelsea at home, still to play as we come up in this, and as well as Liverpool next time they play. So still they have a big chance to shape not just maybe the title race, but also obviously that race for 4th.
Right. United, it's been such a good start under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that, I think just out of sheer enthusiasm and willingness to go out and play, this squad has been able to turn things around. It is a complete indictment on the squad. I mean, because now you're suddenly sitting 4th, my God. And at the same time, you can't totally put on them because, Mourinho was just that bad.
Well, Josie said it would take a miracle to get to 4th.
Well, and here they are by February, and they've got it done. And the only miracle that needed to take place was the firing of Josie.
Yes.
But they're doing great. They're playing well. One thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done is he has made decisions and he's stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and decided, Marcus Rashford's going to be my number 9.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sticking with him. He's giving the young man a chance. Rashford's not looking over his shoulder every time he makes a mistake anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's not waiting for the wrath to come down upon him. Pogba has been freed to, as we jokingly say yesterday, Pogba, go do Pogba things. Wait, not that Pogba thing.
Yeah.
But, and that can be good, that can be bad. Now, one thing as well that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has benefited from is he has had a good run of the schedule here.
Yeah.
When you really look at it, I believe I know they still have Liverpool to come, and that match is coming quick. That'll be next weekend. Next Premier League match for both sides will be Liverpool, Man United. He still has to play City. Believe he still has to play Tottenham.
No,
again?
Tottenham is the only top 6 team they've played the second half. They still have Liverpool, Arsenal, City, and Chelsea left.
There you go. Okay. Now right now the way things, Jesus God, Chelsea. And then Arsenal kind of the same way, but you do still have those top boys to go, and the 2 tops are still your biggest rivals as well. So that's going to mean something. I think United are doing well enough, and I think they definitely got the talent to see it through to a top 4 finish. And right now, all they've got to do is hold serve, and they'll get that top 4 finish. If they just take care of their business. And I think, luckily for United, the 2 teams directly below them are having massive issues. And those are issues that, United was having massive issues, but they've kind of figured a lot of things out. And, I don't take a lot from United losing in the Champions League. Because, they're just playing a better team. That's the biggest, God, it's PSG, when they play the Cardinals of the world, they're going to be fine. So United, I think United have a good grasp on 4th, and I think that's where they're going to finish.
It does look to be that way, but again, still a lot of big matches to come in this Premier League season for them. Also, big matches to come, and one of them will be, when we return from the Premier League or to the Premier League, will be against their Merseyside rivals, and that is Liverpool, who got another comfortable 3-0 victory over Bournemouth. Because remember, it's not the Bournemouths of the world Liverpool's really worried about once their defense actually works. It's the Burnleys and the Cardiffs that sit in the back and just play 10 men behind the ball. No, but Bournemouth will come out and play with you, and sometimes that means it's going to be a 3-3 draw, and sometimes that means it's going to be a 3-0 loss. But Liverpool comes out with the big 3-0 win. Goals from Mane, Gigi Wijnaldum, and Mo Salah. Just a nice little effort from Liverpool on the day. Although Mane's goal might have been offside. That's neither here or there. That didn't decide the match. Liverpool were the better team on the day, and this is, I believe, Wes, and I'm sure you can go more into this. This was one of the first times this season we've seen Liverpool like fully all out pressing with that traditional Klopp style. And I'm a little curious why he chose Bournemouth to do it against. I do understand the reason because of how Bournemouth plays. If you press them, they're prone to making errors in their own end. Right. But I'm a little surprised with where we are in the schedule that you would do it against a team like Bournemouth. But I mean, it got them 3 points, and that's what matters.
Well, once again, Bournemouth is kind of this outlier of a squad.
Yeah.
Because Bournemouth don't play like anyone else really outside of the top six. They want to attack. They want to play up and down with you.
There's Steve Rogers at the beginning of the first Avenger. He's like a foot and a half shorter than you, but he's still going to come up and punch you in the face.
Exactly. Now, it might not hurt when he punches you in the face all the time. But, that's what Bournemouth want to do, and that really plays more into Liverpool's hands. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at, just for example, look at what Pep Guardiola did this year with Liverpool.
Yeah.
He didn't play that way.
No.
He said, "Oh, hell no." He said, "We ain't doing that shit again." He said, we're going to be more conservative. We're going to look and try to take our chances. And what did it get them? It got them 4 points this year. So Bournemouth, on the other hand, have gotten 7 goals against and none conceded and none for. So, on the day, a lot of little things about this match. Two real changes, one squad change and then a venue change from the West Ham match. The squad change was a massive one, though. You replace Adam Lallana, the ineffective Adam Lallana, with Gini Wijnaldum, who, as you said, is on the expanding list of Arlo White's Player of the Year. But what is Gini Wijnaldum? Gini Wijnaldum, and this has been very surprising to me. I would not have taken these odds at the beginning of the year for anything. He has been by far Liverpool's most consistent and important midfielder this season.
Okay.
He has been fantastic. And in this match, for really the first time this season, we saw him in a more advanced pushing forward role. This was Liverpool playing a 4-3-3, but they were playing it with Wijnaldum and Naby Keita both playing farther forward, which gave them more bite in the pressing game. It gave them more bite in their attacking. And the thing is, you can do that when you have a guy like Fabinho kind of sitting in the hole of a 3-man defense and shielding your front four. A lot of things, and really, I'm going to tell you the truth, I'm watching the match right now, and it's my first chance to watch it. It's just, it was one of those weekends.
Sure.
Oh, God, and Wijnaldum just scored that goal. Jesus, God. One thing that's been pointed out a lot was this was the best atmosphere there's been for a home match, a league match all season, maybe at Anfield. The fans... A lot of times the 3:00 match is kind of a dead match for some reason. It's like they're just not quite drunk enough or a little too drunk. Maybe they've had too much time to drink or not. Well, whatever. But Klopp was absolutely thrilled with the crowd, with the energy, with the excitement. He said it, Virgil van Dijk said, the crowd, you can make us or you can break us. So, you're in a title race. Why not come and make them? Don't come dreading, oh God, what's going to happen? Oh, gee, City already won, or City's going to win. Who cares about City at this point for Liverpool? Here's the thing for Liverpool fans and Liverpool in general. Who gives a flying shit about City? You've played them. You're not going to have to play them again. There is zero chance for Manchester City to take points off Liverpool the remainder of this season. All Liverpool have to do is take care of their business, and they'll win the league. I mean, that's the thing. It's yours. You've got the lead. You've got the match in hand. take care of your own business and don't worry about everyone else. Just go out and win matches, get good results, do good things. That's what they did. The crowd was into it. Liverpool were flying around. A good match from Firmino after an absolute shit show at West Ham. As we said, Wijnaldum being back. And Wijnaldum, I mean, this could be like his equivalent to Michael Jordan playing the flu game. Wijnaldum actually had to be taken out of the team hotel 3 hours before the match because he was apparently had the runs all week. But said he could play and goes out and puts in just an absolute magnificent performance, a fantastic shift. Mane keeps up what he's been doing lately. He's been great. Naby Keita. Here's a scary thing. Ed, have you ever heard of a new signing that's coming in late in the year because he's got legs?
What?
It's like a new signing.
What?
Well, Naby Keita finally getting a run of matches, and in this match, he's starting to look like the man that we paid a lot of money for. Those driving runs forward, the pass on the third goal was part of the buildup of all 3 goals. It is starting to look more and more comfortable each and every week for Liverpool. And right now, I'll tell you, easily first 3 midfield, I believe, is Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Keita. Mm-hmm. Jordan Henderson could have an argument in there, but as a 3-man midfield, wow, I mean, they're looking really good right now, and that could be scary going forward for the rest of the season. Some good news is Liverpool are back in warm weather training. They have gone to Marbella for a few days. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is back on the training pitch.
I saw that video.
And there is a very good chance we're going to see him back before the season's over. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, you got to wonder what level you're going to get him back at. Mm-hmm. But when he went out injured last season, he was playing at the best level of his career. He seems to be extremely, extremely happy where he is. It's something about getting the hell away from Arsene Wenger, right? That just seems to be a big help for everyone. And if Oxlade-Chamberlain can come back and something, that's great. Still some concerns at the back right now. Looks like it's going to be longer on Joe Gomez than we originally thought. Mm-hmm. And apparently Dejan Lovren not coming back quite as quickly as hoped. Oh boy. And now Liverpool's looking at next Tuesday, when they take on Bayern Munich. Obviously, Virgil van Dijk is suspended for that match mm-hmm. for the first leg, so there's going to be no Van Dijk. It looks like our defensive partnership is going to be Fabinho and Joel Matip.
Oh, boy.
For what that's worth.
Oh, boy.
Now, that said, Fabinho in his few times he's deputized has looked really good at center back. Matip looked much better in this match around. Whew, I'm trying to, you know me, I'm always trying to talk myself into the good of something. And I'm like, well, at least it'll be at home. And at least it's just the first leg. And, if we can just find a way to kind of shut them down at Anfield, we'll go to Bayern and we'll finish things out. I still think Liverpool I think they're the favorite against Bayern Munich. I think this season they've been a better squad than Bayern Munich. Mm. But unfortunately, at the moment, I think Liverpool have 3 really good center backs. Mm-hmm. None of them are available for this match. So that's kind of a scary proposition, especially with a team like Munich with Lewandowski up front. But that's just a river we're going to have to cross next week. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to play it. So, I mean, there's nothing to get too pissed or worried about. Just got to go out and do what you got to do. But as for this match, as for Bournemouth, if Liverpool can hold this intensity going forward, I mean, it's 12 matches. 12 matches to immortality. Yeah. Hold your nerve, and for the crowd, I'd love to see a crowd show up like this every home match. I mean, I haven't looked at it, but you figure if there's 12 matches left, you say 6 home matches. Might be 7, might be 5. I can't remember.
I can check real quick.
You check that, but you know what? Bring your A game. as fans, bring your A game. Don't be apprehensive. Don't add to nerviness.
Mm-hmm.
Don't start freaking out as soon as something doesn't go your way.
What?
So,
Football fans? No.
especially when you're 29 years from winning your last league title, and it's basically life or death, it seems, every year.
No. So it is 6-6.
Yeah. Okay, 6-6. Okay.
So there you go.
And definitely one Champions League home match. So right now you're looking minimum 7 home matches left on the season. I mean, it's getting down to nitty-gritty time.
Delicious nitty-gritty. And that is what it has usually been coming down to for Tottenham Hotspur the last couple weeks. This time, not so much. Although it was not pretty, and especially if you look at the expected goals numbers, almost should have been flipped around. Tottenham beats Leicester 3-1 at Wembley. Davinson Sanchez picks up his first goal as a Tottenham Hotspurs. Christian Eriksen adds to his tally just after the hour mark. One of the biggest parts of the match was just before Eriksen scored, Leicester earned themselves a penalty. And Jamie Vardy came on as a substitute in the interim to take the penalty and proceeded to have it be saved. It is the first time Hugo Lloris has made a penalty save since 2014. And by penalty save, I mean in like open play, not in like a penalty shootout. So just think about that, Mr. Vardy. Vardy would have his party about 15 minutes later when he brought Leicester back to 2-1. But a great pass out from Musa Sissoko. Who thought I'd be saying that 4 months ago? Set Heung-min Son free with a one-on-one in the dying moments of the match. And Son, as he hasn't done pretty much at any point this last month or so, just held his nerve. Which to say is he did hold his nerve. He has been doing that. And buried the goal to make it 3-1 Tottenham. Great performance in so much as you didn't play that great, but a lot of times Tottenham doesn't get wins from these kind of matches, and they found a way to make their small amount of chances they did have count and played well enough defense, and Hugo Lloris was up to the task enough to make Leicester's chances moot. Which is something that usually happens in the reverse for Tottenham. So a little bit of reverse juju going for Tottenham there, getting them all 3 points. And I don't know what more there is to say about Tottenham, Wes, except, Heung-min Son is on that list of Arlo White's ever-growing Premier League player. He's actually the one that started off the whole discussion today on Twitter. But just a brilliant performance because, about a month and a half ago, Harry Kane goes down. Son has to go to Asia to play for South Korea. And then Dele Alli goes down. And you're like, well, guess that's that. And they hold their nerve. They get a couple big wins in the Premier League. They obviously go out of both cups. But they hold their nerve in the Premier League, keep racking up wins. And then all of a sudden, Son's back. He's making big plays for you. And then other guys start stepping up. Llorente has started to step up in gigantic ways. I think in his last 5 matches, he has 3 goals and 3 assists for Tottenham. Just absolutely massive. And obviously we'll get to the Champions League match today a little bit later. But what could have been, Wes, doom and gloom for Tottenham. And also, like we said with United, part of it has been the schedule has broken kindly for them at this point. But considering this is the air quotes Harry Kane team to not just maintain but thrive without their captain in disguise has been a big boost, I think, for this Tottenham team with everything that's swirled around them this season.
I agree. And, for Tottenham, it's just, and this has happened to Tottenham before, it's just one of those years where,
yes,
God, you're having a great year. And shit.
I saw a stat the other day. I think City, Tottenham, and Liverpool at Christmas, all 3 of them had enough points that nobody who's ever had that amount of points at Christmas didn't win the Premier League.
Yeah, and 2 of them are not.
Exactly.
That's
bonkers.
I mean, it's just one of those years, it's like, well, let's just put it this way. If City win the title this year, both of us are going to be sitting here going, God damn it.
Yeah.
We both picked the year to have our greatest ever Premier League years, and we finished second and third.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. But you know, man, that's the thing. So you just keep plugging along, you keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, you know, a lot of people aren't talking about. Tottenham are going to have a say in who wins this title.
Mm-hmm.
One or the other. I mean, still have matches with both Liverpool and City to go.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, still in the Champions League, which we'll talk a little more about. Looks like they may continue to stay in the Champions League.
Maybe.
Maybe. Cautiously optimistic.
Yes.
But I mean, it's undercover been a fantastic season for Spurs. You just wouldn't know it by listening to everyone talk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a fantastic season. It's somewhat been overshadowed by the damnable stadium,
Mm-hmm.
which at this point I don't know if you ever move into that fucking stadium or not. Who knows?
Not this season. Maybe next year.
Yeah, sure. Maybe next year. We'll see. You know, and now the Kane thing, you know, Kane being injured, Dele being injured. The best thing that's happened all year for Tottenham, I think, was South Korea getting knocked
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Thank you. You know, first, it was the start of the year. It was a great thing.
Yeah.
Yes, South Korea, you won that cup, so now he doesn't have to go to military.
Yeah.
And now it's okay. Now you may lose.
Yes.
Now you may lose and give us the player back. But Heung-min Son, and don't get me wrong, he's not the player of the year in the league. He's not going to win that award. But you know, when we start talking American sports and we talk about MVPs, I don't know. Heung-min Son might not be the most valuable player for Tottenham this season.
Yeah, I would say that hands down. Actually.
You know, he just may be their MVP this year because when it seems like when it all starts teetering on going to shit, he's the one who's there to pick them up and get them back on course.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we'll go with that. I think he's having a fantastic season. He's a fantastic player who is overlooked way too much. On the world stage, he's overlooked way too much. Well, part of that's because, you know, you play with the England goal boy here, and, you know, the future of England, Dele Alli. You know, you play with those guys, and you play at Tottenham, you know, which, you know, however you want to look at it, isn't the premier London club from time to time. But man, he's a hell of a player. And you know, there was one, you know, when first come around of such and such is interested in him. And I remember last year we heard one and we commented on it very quickly, and not thinking it would come to anything, but about Liverpool being interested in going and getting Heung-min Son. I was like, oh hell yeah. Yes. That would be a magnificent sign. And of course it didn't come, and it was never really much talked about or considered. But I just think he's that guy who absolutely every top team in the Premier League would take in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
He would immediately be in, if not the first 11. Immediately, though, he has made your squad that much better. Mm-hmm. And you've seen it when he left for the Asian Pan Cup games, whatever. I mean, it was like, if we can just survive until Son gets back, and we can just survive until Son gets back. And that's what they did. They were able to survive, and now they're starting to thrive with Heung-min Son back in the side at Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and so we'll talk a little bit more about Tottenham later on in the pod. But let's do our final Premier League match. And oh boy, was this a doozy.
Oh God, the match of the huge.
As it sometimes happens in the Premier League. Thankfully, it wasn't a snoozer because it was no goals. There was quite a few goals. They just all went for the same team in a very short amount of time. If you, I don't know, went out right before the match started to go get some fast food, grab a burger, come back, and maybe hit a little bit of traffic, and you're back at the 26-minute mark.
Head on over to Nando's.
There
Get your little chicken, little kebab.
There you go. You go there. You hit a couple traffic lights on the way back. It's the 26th minute. And City's up 4-0. And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just take a nap now. My man knows. Raheem Sterling with a great goal after a terrible Aguero miss opened the match. Sterling gets his goal in the 4th minute. Aguero makes up for it with an amazing strike in the 13th. Then Aguero gets one a few minutes later on a terrible Ross Barkley header back towards his own goal in the 19th. Okay, Gundogan, he still plays for City. He scored 6 minutes later, and it was 4-0 at the 25th minute mark. Then Aguero scored a penalty in the 56th minute earned by, I believe, Raheem Sterling. And then Sterling capped it off with a goal in the 80th minute on just a lovely bit of counterplay from City. Chelsea just were shambolic. After about, I'd say, the second goal, they just didn't really look like they wanted to be there anymore, which I don't blame them, but they didn't. Maurizio Sarri famously did not shake Pep's hand at the end of the match, instead just opting to bypass him and go straight down the tunnel. These two are friends. We've been told multiple times that they go out to lunches during the summer and Pep gives him advice and whatever. I just, for City, this feels like a statement win, a flag in the sand saying, yes, we're still going to try and win this title. And for Chelsea, it's like, yes, they won 5-0 against Huddersfield the week before. Whoop-de-friggin-do, Basil. But this, with what Sarri did at the end, with how he's already thrown his players under the bus, with how they just look completely unmotivated, with talk coming out that's saying things like they don't understand the system or whatever, Chelsea look even more so than they have in previous weeks, Wes, like they are in the middle of imploding in the most spectacular way possible.
The only thing that kind of holds me back from thinking Chelsea are going to implode is the fact that I think Chelsea have flat trap bully written all over them.
Yeah, they showed it against Huddersfield.
And that's the thing. I think Chelsea are going to do enough against the smaller teams that I believe that their season's not going to totally go down the drain unless you say not making the Champions League is just their whole season going down the drain. Because I don't think they're going to make the Champions League now.
I think it's hard to say if Chelsea missed the Champions League 2 years in a row. If they don't win Europa this year and they don't finish top 4, I mean, that's back-to-back years they're not in the Champions League. That's not great.
No, it's not. Especially, we've talked about the arms race.
Yeah.
We've talked about, the big squads having to keep themselves in there, and it'd be 2 years in a row for both, not only them, but both Arsenal and Chelsea. Which, just a few years ago would be unheard of, especially Chelsea coming off winning the title. And then you got to start looking at things like back Mauricio Sarri. You've got to figure that Eden Hazard is on his way out the door, especially if they're not back in the Champions League. Sarri in this match has come under fire again for the simple fact that, once again, he changes nothing.
Yeah.
And you get some people say, well, you're already down 4-0. What are you going to change? You change something.
Yeah, I remember
something different.
Somebody, I don't remember who mentioned it, but somebody brought up the fact that, like, Pep in his first season, of course, he has his system of play that he tried to really hard install at Manchester City. But even he, a few times, especially later on the season, didn't adjust a lot, but once or twice would try to play a little more pragmatic football instead of his, like, pass-heavy style. Sarri's not doing that at all.
Well, and at the same time, it wasn't a great first year for Pep, but they weren't completely falling apart.
Yeah.
And, there was never really any doubt that City weren't going to at least get back in the Champions League.
Yeah.
We knew that first year at City that, and trust me, we gave Pep as much hell as anybody.
And we enjoyed seeing them fail. But, it wasn't this bad. And I think we all knew that at some point City would rise up and start to crush everyone.
Yeah. But I mean, this is just this is tough right now. And sorry, and here's the thing, Chelsea fans say, okay, so we get beat 6-0, and guess what? Next week we'll have the same starting lineup and play the exact same everything. So that's where it's difficult right now being a Chelsea fan. Is, I mean, you have no idea. You have no idea right now what's going to happen, what your manager's thinking, what your owner's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the other thing is, here's Roman Abramovich, and what's going to happen? You've already got a big signing coming in next year in Pulisic. Who's he going to play for?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's just every week it's more and more questions. Callum. Oh God.
Hudson Callum-Odoi.
Yeah, whatever. All his last names I can't right now. What's his deal? You've got want it out, and no, we're going to keep you because we're going to do something with you. And I'm like 5-minute cameos in the matches. There's just every week it's just more and more questions with Chelsea, especially when they put in a performance like this. And it was just so poor, and they were so overrun by. Now, granted, we got to give City more of the credit in this. It was more City just being amazing than Chelsea just completely sucking. So, you take it for what it is, but I mean, City were rampant. City, as you said, have put their flag down in the sand and said, hey, we're here to win this thing. Ross Barkley did his best job of trying to make sure Liverpool didn't win a title.
Oof.
Being a
Everton double agent.
Exactly, Everton double agent. Oh, make sure Liverpool don't win.
Oh boy.
So I mean, that's the thing. City or City.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that, City or City, and they're gonna have their chances. So this league, it looks like it's gonna come down to Liverpool and Manchester City, and who can hold their nerve and who can continue to put in performances each and every week. But right now, when it comes to just a stylistic, beautiful performance, I mean, City are taking the cake and walking with it at this point. But will it be enough to win another title? But right now, City just look ultra dangerous.
Absolutely, they do. So that is what they'll be taking into this week off. For some teams, as we are hitting an FA Cup weekend, yay, who cares? So the Premier League will be back in earnest next weekend, and it'll start on Friday, February 22nd, with a doubleheader, sort of. There are two matches going on at the same time. But West Ham versus Fulham and Cardiff versus Watford. So that's for what it's worth. But of course, the big match that weekend will be on Sunday at 9 o'clock, as Manchester United will be taking on Liverpool. Huge match. As we take a look at the table, City still on top via goal differential over Liverpool, though Liverpool again do have match in hand on City. Tottenham 5 points back of both of them. Manchester United 9 points back of Tottenham in fourth place. Arsenal and Chelsea both 1 point back of United for that coveted fourth spot. Then past the mid-table, we hit the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone. Newcastle and Cardiff sit right outside of it with 25 points. Southampton just inside of it with 24. And then Fulham at 17 and Huddersfield with 11 are bound for relegation badness. So that is how the Premier League has shaken up. Again, it's an FA Cup weekend. That starts on Friday with QPR versus Watford. So that's a thing. But a big match will be on Monday as Chelsea takes on Manchester United. So check that out. That will be at Chelsea again on Monday, February 18th. So let's hit the Champions League knockout stage, Wes. We've had 4 matches this week, first legs. The other half of the teams will play next week, their first legs. Let's start with Roma versus Porto. 2-1 victory for Roma. Porto, though, does get their away goal but from Adrian Lopez in the 79th minute to come back a little bit against Roma. We'll see if it's enough, though, to continue on from there. Ajax. Oh, poor Ajax. Poor Ajax. Thought they had an open goal against Real Madrid, but unfortunately it was ruled out due to VAR, with Dusan Tadic being adjudged to be offsides. Real Madrid would then score on the hour mark from Karim Benzema. Ajax would come back with a goal of their own, though, from Hakim Ziyech, but Marco Asensio would score 3 minutes from stoppage to give Real Madrid a 2-1 lead as they head back to Spain for the second leg. But Wes, as far as our English teams, it was startlingly different results for the two English clubs in this part of the competition. Manchester United versus PSG, the Battle of Titans, the sexy match, as dubbed by people, even though Tottenham versus Dortmund was probably a little more hype. But United's on a hot streak, and PSG is PSG, and they got that oil money slopped all over their bodies. It's gonna be super sexy, and it was dreadful. It was not a very fun match to watch. A WWE match broke out at one point as Ashley Young tackled Angel Di Maria, former Manchester United player, into the chain link fences just outside the touchline. That was fun. But Di Maria would have his revenge as he assisted both PSG goals, one in the 53rd minute from personnel Kimpembe, and the second one to World Cup golden boy Kylian Mbappe, who just had an absolutely devastating run for his goal in the 60th minute. Paul Pogba also picked up a double yellow, so he will be missing the return leg in Paris as PSG West take their 2-0 advantage back to their home turf.
They will, and it was, I watched a good portion of that match, and it was just, it was really a step up for United.
Yeah.
They have been looking so devastating against all these Premier League squads, even a squad like Spurs. But on the day, it was almost like United, like, oh shit, we're out of our depth.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to play other Premier League squads. I mean, I have a feeling they'll play Liverpool very tough.
Mm-hmm.
They played Tottenham, obviously beat them. They'll play City tough. But sometimes when you just get into Europe and all of a sudden it just kind of hits you like, shit, we're not as good as these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a scary proposition. To me, that's somewhat what happened to United. They just, all of a sudden, they were like a deer in the headlights. And, man, you think about it, that was with no Neymar, no Cavani.
Yeah.
No Rabiot, obviously, going forward.
Dani Alves was playing like a weird sort of wing position.
Yeah, I don't know what Dani Alves was doing.
Well, and that's, I think,
like he was like,
to an extent, Wes, what makes it a little worse is because United pretty much had their number one team out there, I think. Yeah. And PSG was missing two of their biggest offensive threats, and United just couldn't do anything.
Yeah. At halftime, OGS brought on
Alexis.
Because
Lingard got hurt, yeah.
That's right. And also
I don't remember the other one. I'm looking it up now.
He brought one from Martial. It was
Mata.
Was it Mata? That's right. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't remember Sanchez touching the ball in the second half.
No.
And I don't really remember Mata doing much. Those two came in and were completely ineffective. Losing Lingard was a tough blow for him because Lingard was the pace in that squad.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave them that ability to maybe stretch the field, find the lanes on the counterattack. And, once he went out, they just, they completely just, they looked a lot more like the Mourinho all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Pogba didn't have that free space to do Pogba things. And then on top of that, he went and got himself a pair of yellow cards. Yeah. And saw red, and with that, he's going to miss the second leg of it. Oh, my Lord, that was gorgeous. So United have just, I think they've done themselves. They've just done themselves in at this point, and I believe it's just going to be a road too long for United to try to get back into this tie, especially in Paris.
Yeah, it's going to be very tough, especially without Pogba being there. Very, very tough for them in PSG now. Looking like they may advance to the round of eights and start maybe a trek towards one of their best finishes ever in the competition. Tottenham, maybe saying the same thing about them. Tottenham with a gigantic 3-0 victory at Wembley over Borussia Dortmund. Goals from Heung-min Son just after the second half restart, after a lovely cross from Vertonghen. Vertonghen would get his about 30 minutes later when he was played in, and then Fernando Llorente, who we mentioned earlier, comes on, and literally a minute later, Eriksen on a corner just nails a pitch-perfect pass to his head, and Llorente just buries it. And all of a sudden, it's 3-0, and Tottenham is in rapture. Big win for Tottenham. Again, without Harry Kane and Dele Alli. Should be said, though, for Borussia Dortmund, missing a couple of their best players, including Marco Reus. So there is that to be said as well. There is a potential that everybody who is injured for this match might be available for the return leg at Dortmund in a couple weeks' time. And again, Wes, as you texted me earlier, cautiously optimistic, but I mean, this feels like a statement victory for Tottenham that they want to go on to the next round. And this is against the Dortmund team that, again, they are leading the Bundesliga, but their last couple matches, I believe they win out on penalties in a cup or went through on penalties in a cup, and then gave up 3 goals in the final 15 minutes to give up a 3-goal lead, I think, to Werder Bremen on the weekend. So this is a Dortmund team that is in a little bit of a tailspin. And if Tottenham can catch them again in 2 weeks' time and advance to the round of 8, I mean, that would be a huge feather in Mauricio Pochettino's cap.
Oh, yeah. And, this was one when the came out. I think this is one of me people gravitated toward as just 2 teams that were even.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what you're looking for is, 2 even teams, not Ajax and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
No offense, Ajax.
Yeah.
And certainly not Porto and Roma. But, I mean, I was really surprised. And you know what I was most surprised about, Ed? Not that final scoreline, but the fact that Tottenham, from beginning to end, Tottenham were just the better team.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even really a question. Tottenham were just better on the day. They looked like a better squad. They looked like they were fully committed. They looked like that they had the belief that they were going to go out and do what they had to do, and that's exactly what they did. It was a fantastic win for them, and once again, when you take into account no Harry Kane, no Dele Alli for this, I mean, that's a little scary for Tottenham. Really, I think Tottenham. I don't want to put shit on Tottenham.
Sure.
But kind of like a season ago, Liverpool we felt Liverpool were just kind of built for making a cup run.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder if Tottenham are somewhat like that.
Maybe.
Don't get me wrong, we talked about they're having an amazing season as well in the Premier League, but especially when you get Kane and Ali fit, this is a team that just looks like over 2 legs they can terrorize anyone over 2 legs.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
And Dortmund, as we said, Dortmund were one of the hot teams in Europe this year. They've got the youth, they've got the high-flying young players. I kind of think with Dortmund, I think there's some similarities to this Dortmund squad with Klopp's old Dortmund squad, where it took them a few years to get to the pinnacle in Germany. And then even after that, it took them another couple of years before they were ready to really be ready to make a run in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it's just maybe a year or two too early for Dortmund to really be ready to take that big, long, deep run in the Champions League.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it came out, oh, they're playing Spurs, oh, that's brutal for Spurs. Yeah, it was, because it's a good squad. But at the same time, this might have been exactly the kind of squad that Tottenham maybe needed to see or wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go through, not only are you going through, but man, you've got a lot of confidence after you knock out the Bundesliga leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. So they still got to get it done. March 5th is the
Right.
return leg at Dortmund. So Tottenham still have to get that second leg taken care of.
And remember, folks, the phrase "that's so Spursy"
Yeah.
didn't just come out of nowhere.
Oh, absolutely. So Tottenham still have everything to play for in the second leg, but also very importantly, they did not give up a goal. So Dortmund does not have an away goal to maybe fall back on. So if Tottenham can get one in Dortmund, I don't know that. Who knows if one will be enough? But if Tottenham can get one in Dortmund on the return leg, that is absolutely massive for them. Because then, unlike in the League Cup, that still is a tiebreaker. So big matchup coming in a couple weeks there to see if Tottenham can advance to the round of 8, just amazingly. Next week on the schedule, February 19th, you'll have Lyon versus Barcelona, as well as the aforementioned Liverpool versus Bayern Munich matchup, as another English club looks to pound another German club. Speaking of German on English violence, Schalke 04 will be taking on Manchester City on February 20th, and the other matchup that day will be Atletico Madrid versus Juventus.
And I think we can go ahead and just take out all of Germany in this round.
Hey, it might happen. I mean,
It could very well happen.
I at this point, it's kind of up to Liverpool, because I think City can pretty comfortably get past Schalke. As long as Tottenham doesn't pull Spurs, they can go through. Now it's just up to Liverpool. Just do your thing, man. So, that would be big. That would be big
crazy.
if all
That'd be crazy.
because it doesn't look like United's going through, so we need some English teams to go through. That is going to do it for our Champions League talk. Let's hit the news and notes real quick. Only one story on the docket. This is kind of crazy. We just talked about, or mentioned Juventus. They will be getting a new player next year coming in. Arsenal's Aaron Ramsey. It's okay. Juventus has Aaron Ramsey now. The 28-year-old will be going on a 4-year deal. He'll be joining them in the summer. And after 11 years with the club. And he'll be making over £400,000 a week. He'll be making more.
Getting paid.
He'll be making more than Paul Pogba. I believe he's making more than Harry. He's making more than every Tottenham player. He's making more than most people in soccer. This is insane. And I actually think Aaron Ramsey's a pretty good player, even though he was on Arsenal. I think Aaron Ramsey's pretty good. I don't think he's this good, Wes. This seems kind of insane.
I mean, I'm kind of wondering who they were bidding against.
I don't know.
I mean, the Premier League teams that were mentioned for Aaron Ramsey it was Liverpool was kind of in there, United, Chelsea's name was in there. Well, none of them going to pay him £400,000 a week.
No.
I mean, does Aaron Ramsey come in and start for Juventus? Now, that said, that is somewhat the weak point of Juventus' squad. It's not the attack and it's not the defense. It is the weaknesses in the midfield, but I mean, that's that's an insane number. It's like, now as you know, I'm firmly of the belief your worth is what someone is willing to pay you. People, I can't believe NFL quarterbacks make this much. Okay, well, somebody's willing to pay it to them, so they're worth it.
Yeah.
So I guess Aaron Ramsey's worth £400,000 a week.
He's the all-time highest paid Great Britain player.
Yeah, I mean,
Aaron fucking Ramsey.
Seriously, and it's not at Real Madrid, it's not at Barcelona.
Yeah.
It's at Juventus of all places. But I just wonder, like, I mean, is Aaron Ramsey's representative, is his agent that damn good that he had Juventus thinking that someone else was going to pay him a shit ton of money anywhere near that stratosphere?
I guess. I mean, the other thing is, he's 28.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like still in your prime, but that's kind of approaching sort of the tail end of your prime, and certainly the end of the 4 years.
And don't forget, I mean, this isn't a guy who is staying healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Aaron Ramsey, who is going to miss a month every year, at the very least. Is going to miss a month. So, yeah. I mean, Juventus, congratulations. I mean, if that's what you wanted to do, good for you. But, man, that's a lot of money.
Oh, my God. Just absolutely bizarre. So, Aaron Ramsey will be going to Juventus. Sure. So that is our news and notes. Let's hit the watch for. Wes, what are you watching in the week that was or the week that will be?
Oh God, you caught me in a bad week because it was night shift, and not only that, I had to pick up extra night, so I worked 5 straight nights this past week. Yeah. What have I caught up on? What did I watch new? Oh, I have not thought one bit about my watch for. I mean, I'm caught up on the SEAL team, the Chicago Fires, the Brooklyn Nine-Nines of the world. I'm caught up on all that. So nothing really new for me. Well, hey, but you know what, Ed? Sometimes watch for can be listened for.
Sure.
And we talked about it at the beginning of the show. We just didn't record any of it in true Burgundy form, folks. The Ron Burgundy podcast,
it's so good,
has become a real thing. The first episode was about true crime.
Yeah,
they had a forensic forensic pathologist?
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever it was, he was a doctor, but he just, how can he be? Folks, if you like Anchorman, if you like Ron, go check it out. I mean, it's funnier than Anchorman 2, which Anchorman 2 was just basic insanity when it came down to it. I mean, it was just craziness and zaniness. This kind of gets you back to the original Anchorman.
Yeah.
About the writing and just the things said by Ron Burgundy. But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with this week on my watch for. Just the Ron Burgundy podcast is so much fun.
The Ron Burgundy podcast is amazing. I'm gonna do a quick watch for. There was a Nintendo Direct today where they show off a bunch of their new games coming out in the next couple weeks or whatever for the Nintendo Switch. And one of them, I don't know. Have you, Wes? Have you heard of these battle royale games like the Fortnites and the PUBGs and the Apex Legends that just came out? Like
I'm a 14-year-old, so I know what Fortnite.
Oh, there you go. Well, Nintendo has thrown their hat into the battle royale ring, not to be outdone by their competitors, and they said, "We are going to do it. And this is how it's going to be." It's called Tetris 99. And it's where you just play Tetris against 99 other people. And the last one left standing is the winner. It's the most Nintendo fucking thing ever.
Oh, I was about to say, that is so Nintendo.
To do a battle royale with Tetris. It's fucking brilliant. It is free. If you own a Nintendo Switch, you can go download it now, I think. So go check it out. It looks hilarious. I know one name producer Jackie was itching to try it out. So she might have to. No, she's asleep. But she might be trying that out whenever she has some free time again. Because she really took a shine to that when she saw that pop up. But yeah, just the most Nintendo thing ever. How are we gonna do a battle royale game? We're gonna make it Tetris based. The most evil game of them all. Oh, well done, Nintendo, well done. So, With that, speaking of battle royales, one will be coming in the form of Wrestlemania in a few months. But Wes, before we get there, we need to know what else is happening in the world of wrestling. So let's get So Raw.
So Raw. So there were some things going on this week. We're going to have some little WWE talk and also a little AEW talk.
Oh, boy.
In WWE, trying to think of some of the high points of the week. Okay, that was fun. No, it looks like we're seeing a women's triple threat match at WrestleMania this week. Becky Lynch, Vince McMahon himself came out and officially has suspended Becky Lynch for 60 days.
What?
Which takes her actually 5 days past WrestleMania. So as of right now, Becky Lynch is out of the title match at WrestleMania. She's been replaced by Charlotte Flair.
Oh boy.
That said, I believe all the signs are pointing towards she'll be reinstated sometime before WrestleMania, and it will be a triple threat for whatever reason. I don't know why the hell they want to keep triple threating this thing. Everyone wants to just see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. Why can't we just get Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey?
I don't know.
Oh, sweet baby, but Jesus. The war of words between Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar has heated up via Brock Lesnar's advocate, Mr. Paul Heyman. So I'm keeping an eye on Heyman. You know, Heyman's usually a bright spot because he's so damn good. He's so damn good. God, I'm trying to think because I didn't get to watch much this week. Yeah, we're just going to call it, oh, well, God, of all things, Elimination Chamber's actually this weekend, and I can't tell you what's going on in Elimination Chamber. Chamber Elimination, we like to call it. I don't know. I haven't seen a match card. I haven't done anything. I'm sorry. I've been a bad wrestling fan, but I admit to that. I openly admit to that because you just haven't kept me interested. So anyway, we're going to move on now to AEW, All Elite Wrestling. A couple of big things this week. Kenny Omega made his choice. He is all in on All Elite Wrestling as he goes there. And he will be headlining their very first pay-per-view.
Oh.
Which is going to be All Elite Wrestling's Double or Nothing event. Is scheduled for May 25th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Kenny Omega will headline against Chris Jericho, and they're the second time they will meet. And Ed, how hot is AEW? Sold out in 4 minutes.
Damn, son. Damn.
Yep. The pre-sale sold out in less than 30 seconds, and the general on sale kicked off. I believe that was today. It was actually, it was today, Wednesday. Was the general sale, and those seats sold out in 4 minutes. So they say seats are available in the secondary market, your StubHubs, those kind of places, and those tickets are going for up to 3 times space. I mean, it is a massive, massive hot ticket item. So much excitement around it. Omega versus Jericho. Right now, the matches that are announced, Omega versus Jericho is going to be your headline. Pac is going to be taking on Hangman Adam Page. The Young Bucks are taking on Pentagon Jr. Phoenix. Cody Rhodes will be taking on a mystery opponent.
Ooh.
We do have a women's match book. Dr. Britt Baker, who is an actual doctor. She's a dentist. And is the current love interest of my beloved Callie's much beloved Adam Cole, baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye. She'll be taking on Kylie Ray and Nyla Rose. A triple threat match. Team All Elite Wrestling versus Team Oriental Entertainment Wrestling. SoCal Uncensored is Team Elite. That's Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Scorpio Sky. We're going to have appearances we see from Brandy Rhodes, AAA World Cruiserweight Champion Sammy Guevara, the Best Friends, Beretta and Chuck Taylor. They're fun to watch. And others. There's still going to be more coming out for that one. But AEW, for a promotion that still has not. They have not run a show. They do not have, as far as we know, do not have a TV contract yet to sell out their first pay-per-view in basically 4 minutes is just insanity. And it shows there is a ton of interest. There are a ton of, a ton of people who are all in on this. And like I said, man, I'm just waiting to find out. I'm just waiting to find out when I can watch it on TV. And I'm hoping it'll maybe help me get back into it a little more. So, man, I mean, that's it. To me, that's the big story this week is AEW. I'm really excited about it.
Oh, AEW, amazing. Do you think what could it possibly challenge the WWE?
That's what everyone says, or that's what a lot of people are dealing about. Oh, it's going to challenge WWE. Here's the thing, man. WWE A has 50 years on them.
Yeah.
B has an infrastructure WWE is basically a Fortune 500 company. And which basically they are a Fortune 500 company. And AEW is a mom and pop startup.
Yeah.
No, in the grand scheme of things, AEW will not ever be a true challenge for WWE. This is WWE from Fox. Fucking Fox to go live. So, no, at the end of the day, it's not a major competitor. But the thing is, you don't have to, if WCW figured this out years ago, you don't have to be number one because there's so much room in the world for number 2 and number 3 and number 4.
Yeah, there's always room for a second.
That's the thing. That's the thing in professional wrestling is, people have different tastes and people want to see different things. Yes, WWE is the mega, they're the mega one. And they're the ones who, yes, they put 80,000 in there for WrestleMania. They have WrestleMania. They have the history, the background. They have the Hall of Fame stuff. But the thing is, there's so much talent in the world. And now, especially with the platforms to promote that talent, and guys can promote themselves. Independent wrestling has never been hot. It's never been bigger. It's never been more exposed, and I mean that in a good way with more exposure than it is now. You can, now if you can sell yourself on the open market, look at guys like the Young Bucks, like Kenny Omega, like Cody Rhodes. You no longer have to go to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, WWE is still the one, if you want to go to WrestleMania, you gotta go to WWE. You want to be on Raw, you gotta go to WWE. But, guys can make fantastic livings never having to do WWE now. And AEW, AEW right now, obviously Ring of Honor has been around longer. Japan, they have a history and have been around longer. But AEW are going to have a chance, once again, depending on that TV contract, to come in and be, right away, I think they could be number 3. And the thing is, they've got enough hype and they've got enough around them that number 2 is definitely within their grasp.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely within their reach. Oh, golly, excuse me. So, once again, no, they won't be number 1 because unless WWE completely does something that blows up that level of infrastructure that they have, they're not losing that top spot. But, once again, you don't have to be one in business to make a lot of money having really, really. So, I'm excited about AEW. I really am.
Yeah, it's
for where I am right now. I'm excited about it.
And it's competition. And competition is always a good thing.
Exactly. Competition brings. It's just like, hey, we talk about the football. Well, yeah, you want the what do you always want to do? You want depth to compete and push them to be better.
Mm-hmm.
WWE has been at its best when they had someone to push them,
mm-hmm.
because that forces them to really entertain you.
Right.
Right now for the last few years, when I've been yawning and like, oh my God, there's nothing. Well, okay, well, what else are you going to watch? What's your alternative? What else are you going to do? Where else are you going to see the best guys in the world? Well, you know what? Now, I can turn on AEW. Whatever channel it may be on eventually. Yeah, I can turn on AEW, and it doesn't mean I'm going to give up on WWE. But hopefully if WWE want to keep some of their top guys or keep some of their up-and-coming guys, they're going to have to do something a little different. Mm-hmm. And AEW hopefully can help force that. So.
Well, let's see if it does. AEW on the rise. And we'll be hearing more about that in the future. And next week, more immediately, we'll be doing, of course, our special Liverpool Live, we'll call it, because they both start with L. As Wes has plans to make his way over towards the great recording studio we have set up here. After watching his beloved Liverpool take on Bayern Munich in the Champions League next Tuesday, I think our plan is to record a lot of the podcast, especially since there's no Premier League matches. We'll probably just talk about United, Chelsea, the FA Cup, because that's the only big one, unless something weird happens. And then obviously the Liverpool match. So, and then I think our plan is I'll record something on Wednesday just to fill in the 2 Wednesday Champions League matches. And then we'll go from there. But it will still be a fun episode. We will still be together for part of it, so that'll be great. And that'll be our next episode. But this episode is just about done. And thanks to NGSC Sports, NGSCsports.com, We Never Stop, as well as Alicia's Pills and Things for helping us out with this. You can catch them on the social media as well as us on the social media. As a collective on Twitter, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at that address, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Big thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store, where you can also find the Ron Burgundy podcast. So again, we'll be back next week for our 250th episode. So that is even more special that it'll be live. So that'll be big, awesome. big funds. But until we get to that point, Wes, before we leave, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Man, had a Rocky Mount Ed.
Yeah.
We kind of throw a little dedication of our show to an old friend of ours, Mr. Clarence Bernie Caps. Bernie, the longtime athletic trainer at Rocky Mount Senior High, Rocky Mount High School, later on Rocky Mount Academy. Man, Bernie was one of those guys. Shit, I mean, when I was a kid, I was looking Bernie in the eye. I mean, I've known Bernie since I was like 5 years old, and he passed away. Bernie was 71, I think, 71, 72, maybe more older than that. But man, Bernie was just, he was the one, he was a constant at Rocky Mount, huge constant for me through all these years. And, he's passed away this past weekend. I'll miss old Bernie. I like Bernie a lot. And, I can just imagine he and our old buddy Charles Austin reunited together and already arguing about. So, and, I know Bernie was greeted at the pearly gates, hopefully with a blow pop and a sun drop.
Yes.
Hey, really, man, they did I don't know if you saw it. Ran a little minute-long segment about him on Channel 5.
Oh, really?
Jeff Bradley did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, not every day does, an athletic trainer pass away and suddenly they got on like Channel 5 Sports. But yeah, I mean, they did. You can find on WRAL's, you can find on the high school OT, WRAL. It's on there. It's a good little video. See some old Bernie. They were showing some old footage of Bernie, and it was, I could tell from when it was because I knew who the quarterback it was about 95, 96, maybe about 94, 95, that era. So some cool stuff, man. Just, it took me back down memory lane, but gonna miss Bernie. Gonna miss going to Pizza Inn with Bernie every now and then, and him trying to get me to pay for it all the time. So.
Hey. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so,
by the way, pitchers and catchers, so life's getting good again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing to warm us up here, even though it's been not too bad here lately. But So with that, we will close this podcast out. For my calling crime, Wes Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Afford Fair podcast. Until next time, stay safe and enjoy the football.
We'll see you guys next week. Good night from Marbella.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.